Toxic masculinity?
You don't know what that is?
I don't think there's such a thing.
Oh Lord.
There are just toxic people. I don't subscribe to this idea of toxic masculinity. There are toxic men, there are toxic women, there are toxic people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you disagree?
I do, because toxic masculinity is a term for the toxic men that utilize it.
Is there toxic femininity? Is that the thing?
Probably, but I wouldn't know what it constitutes. Like, I can't think of it off the top of my head. But
What?
Toxic masculinity in like this example is when they're taught to like stray away from their emotions, like not express them, keep it to yourself. Like, you're a man, don't be a pussy, like hold it in, like don't cry. That's what I mean.
And I think that is generational. Like, from the very beginning of time, men were the warriors, the knights, you know, the people fighting, and men or women were
The gatherers,
dainty
the nurturers.
gatherers,
Yeah.
birth givers, you know, all that stuff. And that really carries on.
I'm going to ask the table. So, do you guys believe in toxic masculinity? Just show of hands. Eric, if you want to just put it. The idea that maleness itself needs to be pathologized and fixed, it's just like, it seems a bit sexist.
The whole idea of men just kind of, you know, be strong, don't cry, don't express your emotions, you're gonna look soft.
That's toxic? You think that's toxic? I think that's desirable. Men should be strong.
But at the same time, it's like you're not allowed to, your feelings are invalidated. You're not allowed to feel those things because you're a man.
I agree with you there. People don't care about how men feel.
Yeah.
Honest. If they're open with their feelings, if they display emotion, women lose attraction for
No.
men like that.
That's
Not
not
all
Yeah.
women. I'm not saying all women, but we had a woman on the Joe Rogan podcast just admit if her boyfriend got knocked out in a fight, she would lose attraction for him. So men are not open with their emotions. By the way, men and women, the way we display our emotions is different.
I would rather be shown how people feel, because like, for example, with my ex, he never told me what was wrong, never communicated with me, so I spent 95% of that relationship thinking he was going to break up with me, and he was mad at me when he was having his own personal issues and just refusing to communicate.
And that's the point that I was going to make is, you know, like, men who have been invalidated, like their feelings have been invalidated, it translates to relationships. It makes you scared to communicate those things with women because you don't know how. You don't want to look too soft. You think that girls want you to be macho man who's super strong and, you know, it's just like stereotypical.
But in a relationship, it doesn't work unless you're both opening up, because automatically I felt so much less comfortable opening up, because if he can't, then why should I?
Open up about what though?
Anything. Like,
Open up about what?
Like, if you're feeling something, if you're going through something, communicate it. Like, don't just be dry and don't talk and act like you're no longer interested because you don't want to talk about it.
And it's also not so, like, if you don't want to communicate that, that's okay too, but it's also as simple as, I don't feel comfortable communicating that with you.
From our own experiences, the times when we are vulnerable in front of women lose attraction for us. We lose the women. I can think of a ton of situations where I was steadfast, I was stoic, and then like I cracked or something, not cracked, like I freaked out or something, but something happened and I shared that with a girl I was seeing. There's one girl in specific, there's been a couple girls this has happened to me too. I'm like, hey, I'm going through this. And then the dynamic immediately shifts in the relationship. She loses respect for me.
That's not the case for everybody.
I'm not saying that's, I mean, maybe you guys are outliers, but I think a lot of men's experience when they are really vulnerable in front of a woman, like, would it be a turnoff if on the first date a guy cried in front of you?
No.
No. Come on.
No.
It would be a turnoff.
I think it would be, because that's the first date. Like, we haven't
Third
even
date,
like established
even third date, a guy
connection.
cries in front of you. It's probably going to turn you off in some. Almost exactly a year ago, I was attacked. It wasn't a fight. Like, I was attacked. I was jumped in the street. I was f***ed up. I was all bloodied up. Everything.
I'm sorry to hear.
And I had my girl that I was seeing at the time come over to like help to nurse me, and she came over and I was all f***ed up. Like, my knee was all bloody. I was in pain. I was like, it was hard to walk and shit. And there was a palpable change we'd been seeing each other for a couple months. There was a palpable change in the relationship. Like it was like before I was attacked and then after I was attacked. Like it changed. When she saw me like all fucked up like that, it changed the relationship. She kind of lost a little bit of respect for me. We never argued. All of a sudden she's bickering about this and that. I'm like, I can't really articulate exactly how it changed, but it changed.
I had a very like almost similar experience, not something that happened to me, but the guy that I was in a very long-term relationship with, like, you know, again, he was very stoic. Like he never really like shared his emotions to me, like at least like deeper emotions that were like things like issues that he had maybe with like his mental health and things like that. One night he gets super drunk, opens up to me like about some really like dark like issues, and his whole thing is like apologizing to me, being like, I didn't want this to affect our relationship. I don't like you seeing this side of me. And I think honestly a part of that plays into toxic masculinity, because it's like he hadn't even like, he opened up to me and instantly he feels embarrassed
And
like
apologized.
just out of like how society feels, because obviously I was there, I was like trying to comfort him. I'm like, I'm so glad you opened up to me because now I understand the issues you're going through. But in his mind, he kept like walking into the bathroom to like wipe his tears, being like, I'm fine, like you don't look at me like this. Like he wouldn't look at me because in his mind, like a man shouldn't be able to show his emotions like that. So in your case, I can understand like maybe that was a turn off for her.
The dating pool now is, we'd rather you communicate and show your emotions. That way we can better understand you and there's no disconnect.
I feel like when there's no communication about like how you feel, it kind of turns into resentment and it just builds up, and it causes tension because you're going through so much and you can't talk to your significant other about it. And if you're dating somebody, you have to trust them. That should be your person. You should trust them more than anything. So you should be able to talk to them. And if you feel like you can't, then that's not a healthy relationship.
If a guy's stonewalling you, that's a different issue. If there's like a lack of communication and he's not communicating certain things, but opening up his emotions, like a guy can communicate with you and still be stoic and still communicate a desire, or if there's an issue in the relationship, he can still do it. But if guys just start sobbing to women about their problems, it's just, the reason a lot of guys don't do it is because they've had experiences that when they do, the women lose attraction for them. Or the other thing that often happens, when men open up to you, you use that shit later on in the relationship to like as some sort of tool in an argument. Like,
and I don't think any of us are saying that like that doesn't happen, because it definitely happens.
Definitely does.
There are shitty people, there are shitty women, there are shitty men. People are going to take advantage of you. But I think for a lot of people, just being able, like personally, I want my boyfriend to open up to me about his emotions, because if he doesn't, why am I going to open up to him? I don't want to cry to him if he doesn't feel like he can cry to me. I don't care about that. It doesn't make me less attracted to them, because I want to be shown how he feels. If anything, it makes me more attracted to him because he can communicate properly and he feels comfortable sharing with me how he feels.
Personally, I've had an experience where a guy I was with at the time has like completely opened up and cried to me about like something going on in his life. And honestly, it almost probably made me like him more, just the fact that he could share that with me and doesn't share it with other people, even his like close guy friends. It was like, it was a really big thing to me, and it still is this day, even though we're not nearly like that anymore, you know? It's just like, it's something that, it's not even like a secret, but it's like a moment we shared.
Yeah, it's intimate.
It is intimate.
Be able to trust your girlfriend enough to share your emotions with her.
If
like,
anything, I feel like
if
your
she's the
girlfriend
most
can help
important
more.
to you as well, like keeping with what like traditional gender roles anyway. If your woman is the most important thing in your life, you should be able to go to her with your emotion.
Even some women who say the things that you guys say at this table, you might be able to verbalize that, but deep down you could still, like you're saying, you could say the politically correct thing, oh baby, it's okay, I want you to open up. But when he does, something deep down, I'm not saying all women, but something deep down might still be like, you might be put off by it. Men often don't share their feelings because they end up just upsetting their girlfriend, and then they're left to console their girlfriend on her feelings because of how his feelings made her feel.
Honestly, though,
Try to wrap your mind around that one.